Now you can hear me. Hello, everyone. I that was a last minute decision to throw that old Wolfman, Prof Wolf intro up from the old Monstober, but I should have downloaded or uploaded it straight to StreamYard. That actually would have worked better. I don't even have my lighting on there. There we go. Whew, my brain's a little mushy today. I mowed the lawn out in the sun for a while. It's a little warmer of a day than it has been previously. So, but I am here, and we are going to have a little bit of a pre-show and then an awesome Wolfman rewatch. So welcome to everybody. Out of curiosity, could you hear that? This is the first time I ever shared a application with audio instead of a Chrome tab from audio. So could you hear the music that went along with that Wolf Prof transformation? Let me know, because that used to be the old intro for all the Monstober videos that I did. Was that last year? No, it was the year before last year. All the Octobers are running together in my mind a bit, but here we are. Looked at me and said, "Nope, you couldn't hear the music." Darn. Well, that's unfortunate. It is. It was pretty cool. Let me see. Let me see what I can do about that. Let me see. Might be able to share. Slam my stream, share my own video, but who cares? Darn it, we're gonna do this. Let's see. It was pretty cool with the music and all. Now, what I'll do is I'll share a intro video from one of my old ones that, and I know I can share the audio with that. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to share this in a second here. And then just so you can see the whole effect, because the cool music and everything, I did that pretty well back in the day. You know, my very amateur skills when it comes to that. But let me share that screen and do it from the start. Then I'll welcome the chat. Welcome everybody properly. Nope, not that, but that one. Okay. Okay, and let me make it. Whoops, there we go. All right, see if you can see this. There we go. That's it. That was the whole thing. Oh, that was pretty sweet. Thought that was pretty sweet. But yeah, you know, my rudimentary video editing skills. Not bad. So let me go ahead and welcome. Looks like StreamYard does this to me all the time. My video came back a little fuzzy. Oh, it's straightening out now. Maybe it's going to be good. Okay. Yeah. Looks like video is crisping up a little bit there, clearing up a little bit. And on YouTube, but welcome to everybody who is here. Yeah, Pseudo Badger thinks it's cool. Very cool. Nice. Yeah, I do have a couple of themes that one of them, the Super Tutors theme that used to be my old classic one, which was kind of a spoof on the old Super Friends cartoon. And then but you know, by a friend of mine, somebody I worked with rather, who made it and gave me permission to use it for a video we were doing for like the Writing Center or something like that. And then Stephen Cruz, of course, made me some sweet intros as well. So I do believe Mr. Troy Pacelli was here first with a wolf howl, with an awoo there. And Benjamin Phelps was next. I don't think Benjamin Phelps is able to stick around too long. Maybe he's still here, but welcome. And he says that also thanks to me and some others that he's got a script going for his comics. So very cool. That's always great to hear. Good stuff. Wolfman Media bringing his howl there as well. Welcome, sir. Sound Engraver is with us. Good evening to everyone, she says. Daniel Heron. What's up, intellectuals of YouTube and Professor Geek? Netter gave me my signature hi, sweetie. Casey Scott saying, hey, welcome. Let's see. Pseudo Badger, yeah, I mentioned Pseudo Badger. Big Al is here, reminding us that even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Yes, that is, of course, the little poem saying there from the Wolfman film, and we're going to watch, and it's pretty cool. It gets at the archetype. I'm going to be talking a lot tonight while we watch the Wolfman film about the archetype of the werewolf that I've talked about before in years past, but I want to go a little bit more deeply because this is the iconic film that really gets at that idea, and with Lon Chaney Jr. playing at such pathos and everything like that. It's really sweet. So, who else is with us that I haven't welcomed yet? Crispy, welcome, Crispy. Welcome. Let's see. Jedi Master Zetopia, welcome to you. And yep, think I'm all caught up on that. So yeah, hit those likes if you will. Much appreciated. And let me pull up something here that I accidentally closed out because I am going to want to show it in a moment. There we go. One more time. There we go. All right. Just had to get that straight. So here we are. Got a couple of things that I'll show you and talk about. Otherwise, this is going to be kind of an informal pre-show, just chatting with you. If you have questions or whatever, throw them out. Mike Eno, welcome. Imagine if in real life everyone actually had a theme song, it would automatically play at certain times, like when you meet other people. I had a friend in high school who used to keep a set of headphones on, and he would play Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Not that I was that old. Right? This is the late 90s, but he just really liked classic music. And he said that gave him confidence to walk past the ladies. Whatever. Okay. I do have one thing I want to show you really quickly, though. So you guys know that crazy big fan of Alice Cooper. Talk about him all the time. Maybe a little bit borderline obsessed. I don't know. No, he's just been a big hero of mine. And after Eddie Van Halen passed away so tragically, it got me to thinking, wow, a lot of these people that I really look up to, Alice Cooper, other individuals are just, they're not going to be here around very much longer. They're in their 70s now. Alice Cooper's in his 70s. Sammy Hagar is in his 70s. It's crazy to think about. And still out there on the tour. And Alice Cooper's still on stage, rocking away. So I thought, well, I actually wrote him a fan letter. I was like, I'm just going to write a fan letter. I don't care. I don't care if it never gets to him. I'm just going to do it. Say I did it while he was alive, But I know, pretty pathetic. But I was looking on his site and I saw that I knew he has this ministry or service, for people there, for kids there in Phoenix. He said that he had an experience where he was driving along the street there, and on the street corner was a couple of teenagers doing a drug deal. And he thought, the lives they're kind of building up for themselves there. And he said, how do they know they're not amazing guitarists or drummers or singers or whatever? They haven't been given that chance. So the idea is that, let's give them a place where they can go and get these lessons for free and actually, possibly have a future, stuff. So he started this place called the Solid Rock Teen Center there in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was looking on that website to see if there's any kind of address or whatever, I could send to him. But I found they were actually selling some things at the teen center to make money for the teen center because it's a not-for-profit, My camera's being a little weird here, so I'm going to try this because I'm going to show you something on the camera here for a second, or in a moment. So I want to try and clear it up here. Maybe it's just mine, my YouTube. It's always such a pain. StreamYard itself is crystal clear, but of course, YouTube transformation gets a little weird. Welcome to Matthew Flynn. Sorry, welcome. Yeah, Pseudo Padre, Alice Cooper for president. Yeah, wants to be elected. I love that song. That's an awesome song. Every time they do it on stage now, they bring out whoever the new candidates or the previous candidates were, people dressed up as them, and they do like a wrestling match. So in the last election, it was Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in a wrestling match, and it gets like it ends up being like a mud wrestling thing or whatever, and the thing is just trying to like draw attention to what a circus it can be, and then Alice Cooper's like, so I'm the only one you got left, elect me, for that song. It's great. But looks like my camera's cleaned up a little bit. So they were selling some things off the Solid Rock Teen Center site, Alice Cooper memorabilia, to raise money for the center. And I saw one thing that I had to have because it was limited edition. It really wasn't all that expensive, honestly. You can probably go there and get yourself one too, if anybody's an Alice Cooper fan like I am. But Alice Cooper was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. So they were selling these limited edition coins. I'll show you the coin in a second. But Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2011, limited edition coins. And then on the back, they've got the Solid Rock, the logo there and on it and everything. But it came with this sweet camera here so I can show you. Pretty sweet sticker for the Alice Cooper Solid Rock Teen Centers there. So that's going on something, of course. Don't know when. But then we've got the little flyer there for the Teen Center. There's Alice there playing guitar with a bunch of teenagers. It just looks awesome. Apparently it's It's The Rock provides free training in music, dance, sound, and recording, lighting and staging, video production, art, and a computer lab and a cool supervised facility for the teens to engage with their peers. So it's a pretty cool little place there, little service there. But here it is. Here's the cool thing that I ordered it for. So I'll show you here. It's in the bag. I'll take it out of the bag. But the signature Rock and Roll Hall of Fame limited edition coin for Alice. So cool. There it is. Let me let that screen focus there. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2011. Alice Cooper. It's got the snake, the python around it there. And then on the back, it's got the imprint from Solid Rock and everything like that. Welcome to our fan club, welcome to our nightmare, kind of thing. Alice Cooper, Solid Rock, public animal number. It's mint. Yeah, it's mint. It's got a number on it for, because it's limited edition. So really pretty sweet. Psyched about that. Glad to have that. Put that somewhere, display it nicely. Let's see. Alice Cooper, a troubled man for troubled times, the Badger says. That'd be a good slogan. Exactly. That'd be cool. So that was pretty cool. I got a couple other things I want to show you. First of all, let me show you this or talk about it. So I posted this in the Professor Geek Facebook group, but I forgot to talk about it last week on any of my streams. So this has been going for a little while now. There, remember, I read for you from the anthologies that my short stories have appeared in from Firebringer Press. The Somewhere in the Middle of Eternity, Meanwhile in the Middle of Eternity, or Elsewhere in the Middle of it, what it was called. Well, they're about to put out their third and final anthology from the publishing company. And since it is a small publishing house, they do campaigns for them to see how many they can print. I mean, they're definitely going to print the books. It's definitely going to happen, but they do campaigns just to see, if they could drum up, support. So that way they don't have to print so many and then maybe not get their money's worth out of it, so it just helps them along with that. And they've done it successfully with the last compilation, Steve Wilson's novel, Phil Giunta's novel. They did, a bunch of them. And these are people that really do know their stuff. Steve Wilson, the guy who owns the Firebringer Press. He's written Star Trek comics. He's written, novels. He's written all kinds of stuff. And Phil Giunta, the editor, he's one of the writers there, but he's the editor for this anthology who's written all kinds of wonderful things himself. So it's been a great project, and I've just been so excited to be a part of the last two anthologies. And it's sad that this is going to be the last one, but I'm glad I can say I was a part of each and every one. Two of my stories have been in each of the last ones a piece. That the Blue Wonder story I read for you is actually in Elsewhere in the Middle of Eternity, the second one that they did. But they finally released the third anthology campaign. And they're always good about this. I mean, the campaigns, once they're done, it's not like a Professor Geek campaign. They actually know what they're doing, and they can actually fulfill right out of the gate and everything like that. And they've been really well with it. But let me share the screen and show you. But the story I have in this one, as I was telling you about, is the one that's really, I honestly think it's my best story that I've ever written. I really do think that it's my best short story ever, short story wise. So it's on Indiegogo. They'd been doing previous ones through Kickstarter. They didn't know about the drama or anything like that, but they're trying Indiegogo this time, and going pretty well so far there. Let's see all the different. So that's the book that you're going to see there, and I think Phil's got a video there you can watch, on your own time. But we'll place the link. Let me actually, while I'm talking about this, let me drop the link in the chat for anybody who wants to take a look at it for themselves and show you some of the cool stuff they have there. Just if you want one of my best stories ever, I think truly it is. It's called The Girlfriend in the Basement. I read for you guys like the little opening paragraph, I think, one time, and yeah, it's really, really a cool tale, a cool story. I'm really proud of it. Proud of what I did with that, theme wise and stuff. But there are perks. If you like that Blue Wonder story, if you're interested in some of the other stories or whatever, you can get all three of the books through this campaign. So if you just, it's pretty sweet. If you just want an ebook of the, the new compilation to get that story out of, and so many other people, so many great writers are a part of this. Really, really cool stories and from cool authors. So it's recommended far more just from my story, but of course, mine's still the only story I've read in this particular anthology, so that's all I can talk to you about. But $5 for an ebook, $15 for all three ebooks, and of course, they give you the hard copies too. $25 just for one, there. If you wanted, I think this is two of them. Yeah, this is one paperback copy of Meanwhile in the Middle of Eternity signed, one ebook copy of Somewhere, one ebook. Yeah, so if you want that or ebook copies of the previous one, you can do that. You can get all three of them hard copies if you want signed. But here's the thing that I want to show you writers. You writers kind of a heads up here. I mentioned this on my Facebook group post, but they have this really sweet deal that no one's claimed yet. All right, so a critique level. They'll critique your writing. And these are the people that critique my writing. So, I mean, this is like, they're really high notch. As I said, this is Steve Wilson, the owner of the Fingerprint Press, the guy who's written the comics and all that kind of stuff like that. And Phil Gento, the novelist, who's written a lot of supernatural novels, a lot of cool stuff. And they've worked with Star Trek writers and stuff like that, and collaborations, and have been part of their anthologies and whatnot. Really, really top-notch people here. And they only have 3 of these are available. It's $85, but what you get is your up to your 500 or 5,000 words, up to 5,000 words, and or under whatever of a story edited by one of them, and you get a paperback copy of the anthology. And their edits are really, I mean, I've been on the receiving end of their edits. I mean, it just really helps you ratchet up your storytelling. So it's pretty sweet. These are also, I mean, no guarantee, but these are people that it would be kind of cool to have your work in front of. You never know. Never know what connections you might be able to make, or just what, even for later on in life or whatever, these are cool people to know, in that industry and stuff. They have a lot of connections on their own and everything like that. So really cool stuff. Just wanted to show everybody that. Got the link there and everything. Mike Eno said, I outlined a were-human story once. A pet dog gets bitten by a strange naked human and afterwards turns into a beer-guzzling were-human. That's interesting. I'm shocked that I've never heard of that before. I mean, that seems so obvious, but I've honestly never heard that kind of story written. I'm sure it has to have been written somewhere, but cool. That's pretty cool idea. Pretty original. Very cool. So yeah, there's the link. Meanwhile, in the Middle of Eternity, it does have one of my best stories. I will read. I think, how many days does the campaign have left? 24 days. Yeah. So maybe next week, before one of the live streams, I'll read a little bit, a little intro again, and we can do that because I can talk about some things that I did in the writing there that, kind of a writing lesson wise there. So yeah, I'll drop the link one more time in the chat there, and I need to put it in the notes beneath the show as well. But there it is. So there we go. There we go. And I do have one more thing to show you, but I'll chat a little bit first. So checking in with the comments here. Let's see. Territorial Clegane, welcome, sir. Welcome. Owen Lister's here. Welcome, Owen Lister. Catching a few people that popped in since I've been chatting. Welcome to all. Really excited about the Wolfman rewatch tonight. It's such a classic. It really is. And this Friday night, Al, if you're here, did you ever get a confirmation from Fanman one way or the other? Because he was originally going to do the 2010 Wolfman on his channel for Fright Nights this Friday, I think, actually. This Friday. Yeah, this Friday. But then he was saying that he might not be around because his daughter wants to go to like a haunted house or something like that. So, of course, he's going to jump on that, But Al was maybe going to do it on his channel then, just so that movie can be done, especially in the same week as we do this classic one. And I would actually, if it works out my schedule wise, I'd actually like to be in on that. Just depends on how much schoolwork I have and whatnot. But that'd be cool because that was a highly underrated take on the Wolfman too. Not quite as good as the original. The original's great, but even the original had some issues in the production and stuff like that. We'll talk about that when we start. But it's just such an iconic monster, especially as portrayed by Lon Chaney Jr. Really did it well. Did it well there. So yeah, that'll be happening. Well, Lister says on the 25th of October, Wolf and I are going to have a rewatch of Starship Troopers. You shop in. I'm not a Starship Troopers fan, actually. I just never really got into that. I didn't, haven't read the book. People say the book's really good. The movie just didn't appeal to me. I'm sure it's probably, decent and everything like that. It just didn't, Starship Troopers just never been my thing. But I know it's a big classic, and I think you guys will have a lot of success for that. So good luck with that. I'll definitely pop in to say hi, in the chat there. Sound Engraver, $5. Thank you for the super chat. My internet went weird during the stream and I didn't catch it. You wrote a fan letter to Alice Cooper and then what happened? No, I haven't heard back from him. There's no like cool news like that. No, I ordered some really a collector's edition to support his ministry there, his Solid Rock Teen Center there, and it's I'll show it again because it's so cool and so like that. It's a limited edition coin that commemorates his induction into the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But it's got all the Solid Rock information on it and everything. Just show it again because I'm so proud of it. You can find like, how do you display a coin on the wall? I guess I have to give it like one of those sweet little cases or something. But then the back of it, pretty cool. It's got the little serial number on it there, limited edition. So very excited about that. But yeah, no, I wish I could say that I'd heard back. That would be sweet. Oh, he's such a hero. I would love to do that. He's pretty awesome. But he was just like, I love his interviews, because Alice, even before he converted to Christianity, Alice Cooper has always been a character that he played on stage. He did legally change his name from Vincent Fernier to Alice Cooper, but the character of Alice has never really, it's always been something he did on stage. For a while there, when he was young, it started to kind of mix into his real life, and that's when he got in trouble with alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. So once he cleaned himself up, that's still just been a character that he played. Out in the real world, he's the usual, and he's a big golfer. He was a golfer like ever since probably even before this, but ever since like late 70s. And he's got so many cool stories because what he did on stage with all the theatrics and everything like that, a lot of the old Hollywood stars from the yesteryear saw that as vaudeville. They recognized it. So that's how he ended up being friends with Groucho Marx. I think he said Mae West showed up to his shows sometimes, Fred Astaire, all these people that he would go into the comedy clubs with and everything. So you got Alice Cooper hanging out with these people. It was pretty awesome. Milton Berle, I think. And even one point he's on the golf course and I think Bob Hope calls him over and asks him for advice on how to swing this whatever stroke or whatever. And he gives it to him. And Gerald Ford is there. The president at the time, is even there and talking to him and stuff like that. And he said once he was actually going to go golfing with Gerald Ford, not because like the president wanted to hang out with Alice Cooper, but just because they were two people that played golf and you always want somebody to golf with or something. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. In case you didn't know. Oh, and Lester said I would love what I love about Starship Troopers was the camaraderie with the characters, putting aside their differences to fight a bigger threat. I love those types of movies. Yeah, that sounds awesome. It really does. Yeah, I mean that kind of thing's really cool. Yeah, again, just because it's not to my taste doesn't mean that I've in any kind of judgment against it or think it's bad. No, enough people who I really respect have told me that it's really, really good. So definitely cool. Yeah, kind of like from the way you explained, it's kind of like got an Independence Day vibe a little bit. Vastly different setting and everything, but that kind of aspect of putting aside your differences to fight ahead and everything like that. Very cool. Jedi Masters Utopia. I watched The Wolfman for the first time this weekend. I thought Lon Chaney was great. Probably my favorite protagonist of these Universal movies. I would agree with you. It's kind of hard with Boris Karloff's Frankenstein too, but no, he really is. He's the quintessential pathos-ridden Universal monster. Even though the film itself, there's this issue, that issue, or whatever here and there, it's really, man, his performance is just phenomenal. And of course, he came from great blood. I mean, the great line, Lon Chaney Jr. We'll talk about all this during the rewatch. I'm getting ahead of myself. Lister, never in my life I thought Alice Cooper and Bob Hope playing golf together. I know, right? That's the thing. They, he's got all these wonderful stories because Alice Cooper was just a character he played on stage. Even to this day, it's still just very much a character he plays on stage. And it's fun. It's a fun character. It's fun rock, and stuff like that. Puts on a great show. But very early in his life or very early in his career, he had to realize that this is not somebody I can be, off stage. So. Now, next week is our last week of these every Tuesday, every Thursday night streams on the Professor Geek channel. I'm taking a break for November, and we'll see what happens after that. But I'm taking a break, as I've said, because I want to spend the time on my Catholic Bible Geek channel, really revving that up and growing it a lot more. Because every time I make a video on that channel, I really get a lot of great feedback. I just made a video the other day about why I converted from evangelical, sola scriptura, Protestantism to Catholicism, having grown up in that all my life, and why I converted and everything. And I got great feedback on that video. It wasn't intended to convert anybody or anything. It was just answering the question that I always get. And really great. In fact, today today was the 1 year anniversary of Alyssa, my daughter's baptism in the Catholic Church. And her godfather shot me an email and, was wishing her happy anniversary of that day and everything, but also said that he loved the video. He said he and his wife watched it and they were really taken with it and everything like that. So that's just so cool. Every time I do something on that channel, I do get a lot of great feedback, but I've never been consistent with the channel enough to actually grow it. I think I have like 200 and some subscribers, and that's it. So so consistency, of course, is obviously the key when it comes to growth. And it's not a lot of crossover between the audience of this channel and that channel. I mean, obviously, most of you here aren't necessarily going to be interested in going and subscribing to the Catholic Bible Geek and talking about Bible stuff. I still talk about superheroes as they apply to saints and all that kind of stuff, but it's a very Christian channel. It's a very Bible oriented channel. It's not, that's what it's all about. So since the crossover is not necessarily there, it's not just because this channel is so big, it doesn't mean anything. Like I can just really promote that channel and call people over or anything. It's not really the case. So I just have to really be consistent with it. So that's what I'm going to focus on in November. I will do a weekly stream on that channel, probably do a Bible study stream, because I think a lot of the Bible studies that happen aren't really, they're just kind of people reading the Bible and saying what they think about the verses. Now, that's a great place to start, and there is a place for that, absolutely. But that's not studying the Bible. No, studying the Bible is really digging into the tools you have at your hand and really going into the scholarship and trying to draw out deeper meanings, And so that's what I want to do from my Catholic Bible Geek, is bring that academic touch to it or angle to it, just like I did with this channel, with the superheroes. So I'll probably start. I did start a Bible study once in the Book of John as a series of videos on that channel, but never finished it. So maybe I'll just kind of go back and redo that as a live stream or something like that. I don't know. But that's kind of what's coming up. Next week we'll still be here for some streams. This Thursday we're still going to finish out the Halloween tree, which I'm very excited about. We're going to finish that out book study wise, and then next week, our last week there before Halloween, on Tuesday, we're going to watch the animated version of the Halloween tree with Ray Bradbury narrating and Leonard Nimoy is doing the voice of Moundshroud. So really great Hanna-Barbera animated feature of that. We're going to watch that Tuesday night. And then Thursday night, the last time I stream with you before Halloween, we're going to talk about The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the short story, but then also watch together the Disney Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It's on Disney Plus. For those who have Disney Plus, you probably find it elsewhere too. I know Al hasn't already, but online somewhere. But it's the second half of the adventures of Mr. Toad and Ichabod, or Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I forget how that's ordered there. But let me check in with the chat here. I've been blabbing for a while. Let's just say the Wolfman is the only monster that works best as an anti-hero than a villain. Yeah, because the Wolfman truly is a victim. Like the human side of the Wolfman does not want, at least in the classic Wolfman stories, does not want to perpetrate any of the horrors that he does as a wolf. He loses control. It's not his fault. It's not the human's fault in these kinds of tellings. Now you got werewolf stories later that people just love and revel in it and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely. Good point. Unless you said would love to do a video of how you can tell or would love to see a video or to do a video, how you can tell a biblical story in your writing without coming across as preachy. That's a great topic. Yeah. How do you deal with moral themes, biblical themes, even straight up biblical themes, and not sound preachy? My short story in the new anthology, Meanwhile in the Middle of Eternity, does do that to an extent. It's not really pushing a moral. It's just exploring what happens when you have too much of this in your life and not that in your life or whatever. It's very Twilight Zone-esque. What people have told me about that story, and I really love, this is wonderful feedback. They've said that that story is really what science fiction should be. Now, the story is not set in space. It's not set in the future. It's nothing like that. But it takes the idea of this technology, this to be able to cryonically freeze somebody and resuscitate them later. It takes that technology and kind of asks a what if question, and that's pretty cool feedback. I like that. So I was really happy about that. But yeah, good idea, Owen Lister. I might take that into consideration, and maybe there'll be a video I'll do on that channel. How do you write? Because I've never been, Soundagraver talked about this last night on her stream, and I really appreciated what she had to say about it. But I've never been a fan so much of like Christian fiction, because it's like it's on the same level skill wise as say like the I call them the bodice rippers, but the romantic novels you see in the grocery store aisle. It's so formulaic. Every story, for those is about the romance, but in a Christian fiction, every story is about somebody finding Jesus, and people can like them. My mom just loves that stuff, but it's not real high art. It's not saying anything that you don't already know is going to be there when you open up the book. It's not really taking you any deeper into things. So that's I like your topic. I'm really going to plan on doing something like that. Definitely appreciate that idea. So Torrin Clegane says, my church once had a priest who used Superman classic films and theater to show how the church has influenced culture. That's awesome. I'd like to know more about that, Sir Torrin. You send me a message or something. Age of Boomer says, hello. Welcome, Age of Boomer. If you want a good Super Nintendo game for Halloween, try Nosferatu. I had no idea there's a Nosferatu Super Nintendo Halloween game. I'll have to see if it's on my my retro box. I'm sure it is. I'll have to check that out. Very cool. Good to know. Wolftown Media says, the wolf simply isn't objective. He acts in accordance to my moral code. Oh, you're wolfy side. Yeah. You're not the classical monster werewolf. We know that. Anya Stefani or Anya Stefani. I'm going to think Anya Stefani. Welcome to you as well. Welcome to you. But so I like those ideas, for the videos I'll do there. But one thing I am going to do I'll probably do this tomorrow night, actually, because it shouldn't take too long. But I'd ordered this. It was a little pricey. I didn't want to spend the money on it, but I loved it, and I really wanted to get one. And they keep selling out of it. And then it's like months before they can get more in because they only order so many at a time. Some of you might have seen this, if you're a Catholic or follow some of these people, but I adored this when I saw it. I'm a really big fan of Bishop Robert Barron, and his Word on Fire ministries, because he's very academic. He's very scholarly. He's not just like some, somebody without any kind of schooling or whatever, just hopping up and saying what they think about this scripture or that scripture. I mean, he's a PhD in philosophy. He's taught quite a while. And he did this, I'll show you the box. He did this Word on Fire Bible. Word on Fire is the ministries, the Institute, or whatever it's called, started. Wonderful, great video series and stuff like that. But he did this Bible, and they packed it with so much cool art and commentaries that they only were able to fit the Gospels in this Bible edition. So this is volume 1, and they'll do another collection of books later. But the leather bound one, especially, I had to have it, and it didn't know if it was going to sell it. I was probably going to hint to my mom to buy it for me for Christmas, but it's so far away, and I'm sure it would be all sold out. But so the nice leather bound. So I'm going to do a review of this. I just got it today, just a little while ago. Haven't even looked all through it myself, to tell you the truth. But it's packed with so much commentary from the church fathers, from different commentaries and stuff like that. And the art is so cool. Scenes from the Passion of the Christ. Really cool classic art. Let me try and find a nice art spread that I could share, because I'll do a proper review of it, really showing a lot more on the Catholic Bible Geek channel. But so like talking about the North Rose window of Notre Dame, and the significance behind that and everything, and really, really cool. So expect a review. So stuff like that, I can still do reviews, as well as it's not just going to be straight up Bible studies. There'll be topical Saints Days. I'll do the Super Saints series, keep on talking about how certain superheroes kind of exist in the same archetype as certain saints. I did one on the St. Michael's feast day, and how he's basically Green Lantern once. It was awesome. And St. Jude is Superman and stuff like that. So Eduardo M. Welcome, Eduardo M. What do you think of Pope Francis? I don't agree with everything he does, but I also don't go for the whole tradcads, thing about, he's the devil incarnate, or he's done some great things. I loved his thing that he wrote on the scripture. Is not just the last encyclical, but the one he wrote before that on the word and the believer's life and stuff like that. Very, very cool. But I mean, it's hard to kind of follow up John Paul II. It's hard to follow him. And I loved Bishop Cardinal Ratzinger when he became Pope Benedict the 16th. I love his old encyclicals he used to write as a cardinal. He's just awesome. watching chapter 1 of it. Watching chapter 1 of what, Eduardo M? Sorry, I missed your comment. It was probably in conjunction with something that I don't remember anymore. But Joshua V, welcome, sir. Own Lister says J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis are the two authors I know who can write good quality stories with Christian themes that don't preach to people. Exactly, you're right, and I'll use them. I'll use them because they both know and understood mythology, and that's the thing. I shared a video in the Professor Geek group the other day, which was a recreation. I don't know what it was part of, like part of a movie or just part of a video series. I don't know, but it was the scene in which J.R.R. Tolkien converts C.S. Lewis. They're talking about, because this is a real conversation they had that they'd written about, and they recreated it and played it out. And when C.S. Lewis was saying, yeah, but myth is just myth. It's nothing, it's not, it's fiction and whatever, and J.R.R. Tolkien starts to say, well, myth is the center of the human experience. There's a lot more to myth than you think about, and he said it so much more eloquently than I can. But then ultimately we work back to the Christ story and how it was like the truth behind all myths or whatever. But even if you weren't a Christian, even if you didn't like that part that they said, you'd still really, I think, appreciate what they say about myth up to that point. So I shared the link in the Professor Geek Facebook group because it was awesome. It was awesome. Sound Engraver. Oh, yeah. Sound Engraver says, most people these days think normal biblical teachings are preachy. If the writer comes from a place of sincerity, his story will have an audience. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a hypersensitivity. Don't you tell me what to do. Well, of course, yeah, Matthew Flynn, the Devil May Cry games. I played one of those once and enjoyed it. There have been so many out there, though, that I kind of like got lost and didn't know where to start or anything. I think it was Devil May Cry. No, it was was it even for the PS2? Was it all the way back then? PS2 or PS3? It might have been PS2 even. It was an older one. Haven't played any of the newer ones with the character of Dante and everything like that. Yeah. I was interested in those, but never really followed them or got into them anymore. Yeah. Very cool. Eduardo means, the movie It Chapter 1. Yeah, the movie It Chapter 1. That's right. You said it sucks. And I was like, well, what sucks? The it. Yeah, now I get it now. Chapter 1, it was cool to see a new interpretation of some of the scenes from the book. It was cool to see some of the scenes of the book that weren't in the old 1890 miniseries or 1990 miniseries, but they made so many stupid changes. Like they didn't make Mike the historian. How could you make Ben the historian? What is there for even Mike to do anymore? And it wasn't good. It were some cool things about it. And of course, but I was reserving judgment when it first came out, thinking, okay, well, let me watch it chapter 2 and let me see if they actually do anything good with it. And it just failed epically. Great example of how when you don't do the setup right, you can't end it right. Definitely. Yeah. Wolfman Media says life experience is greater than lived experience. What do you mean? Don't quite know what that means, but it sounds pretty good. Sounds philosophical. Sound Engraver says, I heard Sound Engraver did a stream last night on Christian artists and producing wholesome art. I think she mentioned Tolkien and Lewis as well. Well, I don't know if maybe it was when your internet was glitching out, Sound Engraver, but I actually referenced your stream last night and was talking about it and pointing people to it. Absolutely. It was a great stream. Very cool. And so, yeah, go check out Sound Engraver's stream for Monday Night Muse last night if you haven't already. So, touching on some of these things that have just come up in our conversation, definitely. Lewis and Tolkien, definitely. Melissa Harris, welcome. Was wondering where Melissa Harris was. Good to see you. Wolfden Media laughing. I know, Sound Engraver. Well, I think that was a finger wag. I think she was wagging her finger at me with that comment. I heard Sound Engraver did a stream last night already saying these things you're saying. I believe I got scolded there. And as much as Sound Engraver would scold someone. So yeah, let me see what time it is. I don't really have a lot planned for tonight. I wanted to show you the campaign there because I didn't last week like an idiot, and I'll keep showing it Tuesday and all of next week and and stuff like that, just reminding people of it, because it's my duty as one of the authors that are included in it. But it is really a book I'm looking forward to because everybody else's stories were so amazing. So it's a good deal. And my own story, I'm telling you, this story really is I mean, it's. I don't want to be conceited, but I'm really speaking from a place of just looking at the quality of it. Everyone who's read it really does think quite a bit of it, and it was something that came out of my MFA experience too. It was something that I worked with the author Kirby Gann on. Kirby Gann's an author and publisher who helped me with that story, and is my mentor during my MFA experience, and it's been polished to the hilt. It really is a solid, and it's in the version of a tale. It's a version of a genre, so it's not quite written in vignettes, but it's a tale as opposed to like a longer story. It's like 10 pages long if you print it out in Word, and I'm just really super proud of it. I really truly think that this could be. Um, if it was in a different publication, because they put these, the American Writing Association does these like best fiction of the year compilations and stuff like that, but they only farm out and look at certain publications, to find that stuff. But this is a story I truly believe if this was in a publication that was in front of them for some reason, it would have a chance of making it to that edition, because it's I don't know, I'm just really, can you tell I'm proud of it? Proud of it. So it's there. I'll drop the link one more time in case anybody wants to go check out that anthology that Firebringer Press is doing. There it is. Now, let me check on the chat here before I'll need to go and take a break to get things ready. Anything I missed there? Eduardo, read Mikado. Oh, the Assisi. No, I haven't. Written a book, Kasumoro and Epitaph of the Small Winter. Oh, no, I haven't read those. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's off my radar. Unless you said, would you compare Wolverine to the Wolfman archetype, because he does struggle with his inner animal from time to time? It's not in the same archetype, but there are similarities. Yeah. Wolfman, in terms of the Marvel universe, would be far more like an Incredible Hulk. But yeah, I can see what you're saying in some stories. I'm not an expert on Wolverine. I haven't read all of those stories. Fan Man's a huge Wolverine fan in the comics. He'd probably be able to talk more about that. Wolfman Media says most people are believing they are living in a pre-60s world. Everyday, laughable life experience is what shapes your future and your character. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think you're saying something more there that I don't quite get the gist of, but yeah, it sounds good. Okay. Yep. Let me see. Matthew Flynn, 6 Devil May Cry games. One of them is a reboot called DMC Devil May Cry. Don't pay. It's just edgy trash. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So, he's Portuguese. Eduardo says, okay, yeah, yeah. No, I haven't read a lot of, I don't think I've read any Portuguese authors, but yeah. All right. So, 10 minutes till 10. So let me take a break now and get my headphones set up and my situation set up for the rewatch here. It's the Wolfman, 1940s. The Wolfman. It's the last big deal Universal monster movie, I think. Everything else after that has just been some more sequels and stuff like that, some of which are still pretty good, quite good actually. But yeah, the last big staple Universal monster film in terms of that classic era. They went on to do other things, so it'll be great. You can check it on find it online somewhere. It's you can available to rent anywhere, but I'm sure you can sail the high seas like Al does, or like many of you do, and go find it wherever. So you got about 10, maybe 15 minutes before we actually start the film. And I'll be back in a second, and I will show when I come back. I'll show you, my Universal Collector's Edition copy of it, but I'll also show you the 3 busts that came with that Universal Collector's Edition of Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. The Universal versions of them that came with that. They're on my shelf in the living room, so I'll go grab those as well. But all right, so that's that, and I will see you back in just a few moments. All right, so back here, ready to roll with the. I'm missing something. I'm missing my glasses. Gonna need those for the rewatch. Where are they? Got my old knockabout pair here, but I like to wear the nice ones when I'm on screen. Oh well. I think I misplaced them in the living room. But this will be good enough. But I wanted to show you is the panels getting in here in the backstage. I see them. I'll bring them in a second. So not even remotely prepared. Look at me. Dropping stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff. Let me show you this Wolfman Legacy Collection, as I've been showing you every single one we've watched. So, and again, these came out. I know it's broken record stuff now, but these came out when the Van Helsing film came out. Stephen Sommers, did the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser and whatnot, and the Van Helsing. This was his culmination of doing the remaking those Universal movies back in the day, or not remaking, re-envisioning. Better way of putting it. But Universal released all the classic ones in a legacy collection. So here's the Wolfman. It's got that shiny cover there. But pull it out there. And it has the Wolfman, Stephen Sommers on Universal Classic Monster, the Wolfman, audio. So I've got all these special features. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, the She-Wolf of London, which isn't technically a werewolf movie. But it also has the Werewolf of London, which came about before the Wolfman. And Al will probably say some things about that when we get him in here. Henry Hull's wonderful Werewolf of London. Definitely cool. Monster by Moonlight, an original documentary. Cool. I'll have to watch that later. Sounds like a fun Halloween watch. So there's that. Bring the panel in just 1 second. Bear with me, guys. I just want to show these off while I've got the whole full screen here to myself. I promise you the busts. Here they are. Let me make sure that everybody can hear me and everything in the chat. This is the Dracula. So it's Bela Lugosi, 1931, the Dracula bust. This adorns my shelf in there. Dracula in the center, it's clearly Bela Lugosi. Very cool. These came with the Legacy Collection additionally when you bought them all together. The Frankenstein, Boris Karloff, 1931. That come on, focus in there. There we go. And then the whole bust himself, very much Karloff. Very good attention to detail. It's got the eyelids and everything done quite well. Let me focus. Let me see. There we go. That's a little better focus. So, yeah, really cool. Webcam's being a little weird there. But, and then the third and final one, which is a little scratched because I have a daughter. But the Wolfman, 1940, Lon Chaney Jr. 1941, excuse me, Lon Chaney Jr.'s Wolfman. And that's definitely his face. That's him from the movie. The nose is a little scratched. That's my girl, knocking and thumping about and everything. And I'm silly enough to have these things out on the shelf where they can be knocked and thumped about. That was the early years of fatherhood, learning. learning. But here we go. Let me kill my camera, bring my avatar, my Prof Wolf avatar up, and then welcome in our panel here. So with me as always, the trusty TA himself, Big Al. Say hi, Al.
Hi, Al. Just have my pina colada at Trader Vic's.
What?
My pina colada at Trader Vic's. And my hair's perfect.
Oh, the werewolf. Oh,
thank you.
Right. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Took me a second. Okay. And we have the Klingon cleric himself, Mr. Troy Pacelli, with a pretty sweet avatar there. Welcome, Troy.
Ooh, which of course is werewolf for what y'all sipping on?
Diet Dr. Pepper, as you saw in the pre-show.
Of course. And Al, am I guessing water?
Lemonade, thank you.
Oh, wow. Snazzy today. Snazzy.
Well, I always have lemonade.
I am having myself a Midnight Moon, which is hot coffee, triple sec, sugar, brandy, and topped with whipped cream.
Interesting. Nice. Well, sounds pretty good, actually. Well, here to keep Mr. Troy Pacelli in line
That's right.
is Netter's Network.
And sober, hopefully.
And sober. Nanette herself. Welcome, Nanette.
Hi there, guys. How you guys doing tonight? And yes, Troy only gets the one.
And Netter's having a virgin version.
Oh, okay. She's driving the stream tonight.
She's driving, yeah.
Yeah, mine was just coffee and whipped cream.
By the way,
Gotcha.
Netter, I got the movie for you if you need it.
Oh, okay. Can you go to the bottom of the stairs? I'll go to the top of the stairs. You can throw it up at me.
Yep. Guys, talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'll introduce last but certainly not least our stand-in host for this Universal Rewatch Monsters, Mr. Aged Boomer himself, with a pretty sweet character from the film.
And today is his birthday.
Is it really?
Oh, Bela Lugosi, that is.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome, Aged Boomer.
Hello, I'm having a Coca-Cola Classic. A
Okay.
Coca-Cola Classic. There
Classic.
you go. Okay.
Do you even need to say classic anymore? Because like they brought New Coke back for a little bit, but it was limited, right? I mean,
But they brought it back when Stranger Things had that one season, remember?
yeah. That's right. Let's see. Owen Lister says, while I respect the Wolfman, I'll always prefer the more wolf humanoid with the longer snout. They look more. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit too. The different.
Yeah.
I always kind of like like a howling style wolf. I always kind of differentiated that in my mind as Wolfman versus werewolf.
Right.
And we'll talk about that as the movie starts. That'll be a good topic to go through when it gets to the slow parts for commentary and whatnot. So good.
I rather like my avatar. I think he looks really smashing tonight.
I love it. I was going to mention it, but you ran away from Mike afterward. This is your werewolf rug that you bought, right? Or no, that was the one with
actually,
the
it's a
Santa
version
Claus
of
hat on
it.
it. Yeah, okay, this is different.
Right.
What is this?
This one is a little bit more brown, but it's a similar version. But I think it and this one's got yellow eyes where mine has red eyes when it's lit up. This one, I don't think the eyes light up. It's more of an actual like rug, like you would have like a bearskin rug, because it has like real eyes in it instead of just LEDs.
We did tell you the story about when we brought that thing home, right? It has electronics in it that whenever you step on it or jostle it, it howls. And that's fine, which is neat.
The one I just
but then
put
what
up,
would happen is it would start howling in the middle of the night when we were in bed and there was nothing anywhere near it that could have triggered it. And we were like, you know what? Let's just turn that off. I don't want to think too much about why it's going off.
I hear you. I understand. Definitely. Well, just to remind people, as I usually do, I had the film queued up to right before the classic Universal Monsters logo. So if you have a version like I do, it's got the more modern Universal logo, and then the old, with the that's the plane. It's a twirling like old lights, black and white Universal for this one.
Yeah, the newer one. Yeah, newer to like the 40s version.
Yeah. So you can cue that up there. We'll start just in a moment. But what do you guys think of the bus? They're pretty sweet, huh?
Those are nice.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Now, did they come with the sets when you bought them? Was it like a package sort of thing?
Yeah, if you bought all three together, like all Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman, they had a package set like that these came with. Now, you can probably still find the set on Barnes and Noble, on eBay somewhere, maybe. I don't know if it's pricey now or not. I don't know, but yeah.
Because I remember the Lord of the Rings extended editions, they had those fancy gift sets, and I did buy those when those came out with like the Gollum figure, and I think it was Minas Tirith was another one. Yeah,
I missed those. That's sweet though.
Yeah.
And then the gates into Gondor.
Yes, those are my favorites actually. Yeah,
I got them. Yep, I got those too.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, I missed those, but maybe I'll jump on eBay later myself. Not that I could afford it, but so the movie. Troy just put the recipe for Midnight Moon: hot coffee, half-ounce triple sec, 1 cube sugar, 1.5 ounces of Benedictine and brandy, topped with whipped cream. You're gonna candy it up. I'll drink it.
I'll tell you what, honestly, it does have so much sugar in it. Well, actually, I cheated because I didn't go with black coffee. I went with one of those flavored coffees, one of those mocha things, so it's like extra sweet.
Yeah,
and you kind of can't taste the alcohol, which could be very dangerous, which is probably what that Netter keep an eye on me tonight.
I love you guys.
That's why he's having one.
I get that way when I'm sober, so I mean, what the hey?
All right. Well, you guys ready to go ahead and count down and go?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I don't see anybody in chat desperately needing more time, so I think we're good to go. Yep. Joshua V said that werewolf sounds like a cursed doll when it plays out of nowhere. Yeah, that kind of idea.
Yeah,
Don't want that creepy stuff happening.
And Sir Torin was like, "Do you think your ghosts are just playing pranks?" I'm like, "That's what Netter would say. I don't like to think about it too much."
Yeah, 'cause I mean, you would actually hear the oh at 3:00.
And then people
going,
wonder why I'm going out of
"What?"
my way and buying the new Neutrona wand and the proton pack and the ghost crap.
Yep. All right. Well, I will count down 3, 2, 1, play, as I usually do. And when we say the word play, that's when we'll all hit the button and start watching. Eduardo M's checking out. Says, just have a good rewatch. Thanks, Eduardo. You're welcome to come back and hang out, even if you're not watching the movie, but you got things to do. Understood. Thanks for hanging out for the pre-show. Much appreciated. And I think we'll have a lot to say about this one. So let me wake up my remote here. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
I'm sure we're not going to be watching Superman.
I know. I'm hearing that going, wait, this is Superman.
Now, is that the second Universal logo that came out after the plane flying around?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. The Wolfman.
I love that font. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are a couple of fonts that are close. The Great Claude Rains. Oh.
Yeah. Who you saw in Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
The casting of him as Sir John Talbot, with what's his name as Lawrence Talbot. Lon Chaney, thank you. They couldn't have been that different in age, could they? They had to have been pretty close in age. So for one to be playing the father.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I do know because Maria Ospinskaya Maleva is playing Bella, the gypsy. Of course, Bela Lugosi's mother, but there's only like 7 years difference in their age.
Oh, gotcha.
Some people age well, some people age poorly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know that this isn't the film we're on, but that remake with Del Toro, not a bad remake if you're going to do a remake.
No. Yeah. We just saw the landscape there that'll come into play. So predominantly that wonderful foggy woods landscape, which I just think so amazing. So.
Oh, and Claude Rains is 17 years older.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's theoretically possible.
In the realm, in the realm of possibility.
With Dracula and especially with the Frankenstein movies, they really start with the book and everything. I think it's interesting that the werewolf doesn't really have a classic piece of literature. I argue that Werewolf of Paris, the old novel, really should be far more read and celebrated like that. But it's nice that they at least start with the definition, get at the idea, because it is, even though we don't have a classic work, we've got the idea is so permeating.
Yeah, there were a couple of scripts floating around with werewolf as a topic, or Wolfman. One of them was actually Boris Karloff was attached to.
Oh, really?
To be the Wolfman. I think it was actually a different script than the one that they finally used here. Okay. But the main thing about this film, originally it was written as more of a psychological change without the physical change.
Yeah, but like Werewolf in London.
Yeah, it was going to be left up. No, more like She-Wolf. I think more She-Wolf.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Whether did he actually change, or was it just in his mind? But they went with. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you talk about the different scripts and everything that were going around. Kurt Siodmak had written an original script, which I think is probably a stronger story, in which he wasn't the son returning. He was an American repairman to fix the telescope. Mm-hmm. And here he's the son, but he's grown up in America, so he's very Americanized. I think the original script's probably a little stronger, but the studio wanted some changes.
Well, right, it was the studio that pushed for the monster.
it gave for the extra dynamic between of father and son. It makes it more tragic as to what actually ends up happening.
It does, and it also adds to it the idea that the wolf. The idea is that the curse brings out the wolf that's inside of all of us. That primal, unchecked by the higher brain function of self-control. What would you do if you were completely unchecked by that? And that's the real terror of the wolf. So that is something that father hands down to son, just being human beings. So it does play into that theme a little bit.
And Troy mentioned it was a studio that decided to go with an actual beast, an actual, physical change, because they felt it was better marketing, better audience.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be too highbrow.
I'm glad they did. I mean, that's we want a good, proper werewolf film. You were talking about the father-son relationship. That was one of the things exactly that I was thinking about when I was drawing the comparison to the remake.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great evolution. I'm not usually, how I am. I'm not usually big on remakes. That one I felt actually took it and elevated it.
Yeah, had a couple, issues here and there, but it was really good. I liked it.
Love that telescope.
And
of course, it's not pointed up. That looks like it's a terrestrial telescope. So basically, he's a peeping Tom.
Yeah, right. Using it to go peep into the town. Yeah. Doing here.
But if you got Evelyn Anchors living in town, I'd be focused on that telescope.
That's what he does. Yeah.
Speaking of
well, you said that as a joke, but that's where that joke comes from. That men who were just womanizers were called wolves back in the day, because that's that idea. What is your inner, beyond your self-control? What is your inner beast? And for men, obviously that's going to be a big part of it. But let's just say if we're doing a monster universe, the Wolfman will be the hero of that universe. Well, then whenever they have shared films like that, it's always the human part of the Wolfman. Like think of Monster Squad or some of the different collections.
I'll be honest with you. If this was the Avengers, you might argue this was kind of like the Bruce Banner Hulk kind of character.
Yeah, like I said in the Screen Show. Yeah, that's the same archetype there, definitely.
Although I think Frankenstein's monster kind of plays that role too a little bit.
Well, also Jekyll and Hyde too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So
well, this, like I said, there's a lot of tropes. Like, Beauty and the Beast. There's a lot of different.
A little rear window action going on here.
Speaking of beauty,
that smile on his face too, like
like for a second he wants to go talk to her, and you realize, oh wait, I'm way far away from her.
It's a subtle little pantomime, right?
Yeah, these two did a lot of films together. They were very frequent co-stars, even though their relationship was a bit iffy sometimes, because he was very apt to play jokes on her.
Oh, really?
Casey
Scott just says they hated each other. That's why then?
It was kind of a, I don't want to go love-hate, because it was a little more apathetic than Lady Love. But he would do things to her, like almost bully her. Things today that would really like #MeToo would end up happening.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But nothing
we got a timestamp request. 7:32, 7:33, 34, 35. Wolf Tanks. 7:38. Okay.
But,
sorry.
But they worked very well together, but he did kind of irritate her. Plus he drank. So
oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
I do love
everyone did.
Yeah. Well, it's that back in the day.
Time, yeah.
I do love the behind the scene images. He had a German Shepherd dog that he just loved to death. And there's a lot of cool behind the scene images when the dog still knew who he was underneath the makeup, hugging on him and stuff like that.
There's the great one of him like resting like with his head on the dog and he's in full makeup.
Yeah.
Classic picture. And the dog appears in this film. The dog actually plays the werewolf.
Yep.
What is his name, the dog?
I forget. I want to say Bear, but I'm really
Bear sounds familiar.
Yeah, like for some reason, I was trying to think of it earlier. I should have tried to look it up, but I just didn't have a chance to.
Now, is this the first werewolf movie?
No.
Okay.
No. Not even Universal's first werewolf movie.
There's Werewolf of London.
Werewolf of London was the first one. That was Henry Hall in 1935, I believe. So 7 years prior, and different lore, different werewolf type.
Mm-hmm. Now here's the iconic silver-handled cane.
I love that cane.
God, I do too.
Last I heard, it's currently in a collection of someone in Maryland.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, it's one of the few surviving props from the place. Made a vulcanized rubber so nobody could get hurt.
Props?
I was just going to say that can't possibly be like silver.
Yeah.
You just spoiled the illusion for me. I saw this for the first time last night, and I kept thinking that was pure silver hitting people. But
I forgot I forgot that this was your first time seeing it last night. What did you think watching it as an adult for the first time?
I liked it. I mean, this has always been on my to watch list. I just never got around to it. It wasn't available when I was a little kid. When I was really into these movies, I couldn't find it. I had the action figure, but I never saw the movie. Mm-hmm. So I liked it. And you know what? I have to say, the whole idea of this cursed character, it brought to mind Barnabas Collins a little bit for me.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on for hours. Well, I probably was, but I'm going on to a different topic. I could go on for hours about the connection between what Bram Stoker did with the wolf and the bat and the transformations of the vampire and its connection to the werewolf.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And of course, she just told him about the legend of the werewolf, and of course recited the legend, the poem of the legend.
And that speaks again to something that the professors mentioned earlier about, the old world versus the new world, the old wisdom and the modern science. Oh yeah, we don't believe that now, but
Yeah, and a lot of people were trying to think where that poem came from. Writer made it up.
Yep, came from right here.
Yeah,
came from his head.
Which, again, like I had said last week, it makes sense because it rhymes. So obviously it was written in English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it certainly didn't come from the old world.
Every time I see a film with gypsy and they got the Romany cart, I want to be a gypsy.
Right?
I want a little cart. I want a little horse and just roam to earth.
And Casey Scott says,
go ahead. No, please.
I was just going to say, Casey Scott points out that Chaney actually bought that dog off a security guard at the studio. Interesting.
Oh,
I didn't know that. There.
But the gypsies are the common thread, right? Through all of these films.
Yeah. They're the link to the old world.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much like we were talking about with Dracula. We didn't have a gypsy in Dracula, but Van Helsing knew about gypsy lore and whatnot. He was the link to the old world beliefs in these creatures, and then therefore knowing how to stop them.
Right, which is exactly why they figure so prominently in our narrative that we're creating collectively in the Fixing the Universal Monsters Shared Universe.
Cool.
Which link is in I just dropped.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, aside from the ring of Imhotep, his scarab ring, I would love to also have a replica of that cane.
Yeah. I'm sure they're pricey. I know you can buy them there.
Yeah, they're out there, but they.
What you do nowadays is you get with a crafter to make it for you, because I'll bet you dollars to baked beans that there's a 3D model out there that can be printed. And then cast in something like brass and then covered in silver leaf or something like that.
Or our buddy Peter Baum, who made your cane.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, he'd probably affix it to the cane for us.
I love this flirting. I'm really afraid of the dark. I don't want to go alone. Don't you want to walk with me?
And he says it with that charismatic grin where it's very clear he's joking around and it's very clear what he's doing.
Yeah.
They're both so well dressed too. It's like, I don't know.
Now, in this story, are we to assume that this is taking place modern day, the fedora 1941 or so?
I think so, but it's like an old world country, so there's touchback,
And it was left very ambiguous.
Yeah,
on purpose. They wanted it to be kind of you don't know where it is, and the time is still a little off.
Everyone knows about werewolves. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, Troy, the werewolf does come from the same mist from which the vampire derived. And in Bram Stoker's Dracula the novel, he even changes into a wolf and was very much, all that same kind of creature. But I do like the fact that it's cool from an evolutionary standpoint, evolution of the story, that one element of it could stand so well on its own that it's drawn out and developed into something, a whole new archetype.
All these concepts of the monster, the beast, and using it as an allegory for the real world evils that exist within man. You kind of can't separate that. So whereas the vampire was mostly focused on illnesses that would strike, and a family would end up dying because of cholera or whatever it might be, the werewolf was very much focused on people can be animalistic, and sometimes the crimes of humans are every bit as bad as a pack of wolves. And it all kind of ties back to the same archetypal fears that we have: fears of the other, fears of each other, fears of the unknown.
Well, that's why I keep recommending and wish people would read that book, Werewolves of Paris. Is it Werewolves of Paris or Paris? Let me look up Werewolf in Paris. Paris. It's a novel. I did a whole review on it, that Monstober, and I read it. It's the names. The Werewolf of Paris. Okay.
Is that the one by Guy Endore?
Yes, by Guy Endore from 1933. That really gets at all of these themes, and it's just it is for my money, that's the classic literary work for this creature, just like Bram Stoker is for Dracula and so forth.
I remember watching an old In Search of episode, the Leonard Nimoy show, where they talked about how, does the moon affect certain people's moods and stuff like that? Like the full moon, does it bring out the bad side? Like they had some documented cases.
Well, that's
becoming almost.
That's where you get the word lunatic and lunacy and everything like that.
What media wants a timestamp?
16, 34, 35, 36, 37.
So that's a creepy and a really cool, but a creepy supernatural. When he sees that sign in their hand, they're going to be victims of the wolf. Who, of course, we know is him. So honestly, Al, well, okay, he's minus the mummy, but just beyond Chaney, Bela Lugosi would be the one who's played every creature, because he's played a werewolf, Frankenstein, and Dracula.
True.
Yeah, not the mummy. Now, I forget her name, but yeah, you know it, Al. Her character at least comes back in one of the later movies. Is it the same actress? I forget.
Yes, Maria Ouspenskaya.
Her same actress. Because that's in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. I think she comes back.
Yeah, she kind of becomes.
She's like the Colston of the Universal Monster.
A little bit, maybe. Yeah, that's a good analogy. She kind of becomes very protective of Larry.
Yeah.
Almost even to what is about to happen, even because of what he did. There's his dog.
He's just playing with him, basically.
And they have to carefully edit it, because you could totally see behind the tree or whatever, his tongue lolling and his tail swinging back and forth. Hey,
who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to point out the first time watching it, this speaks to his bravery. He goes right after the wolf. I mean, he's trying to save her, but it doesn't work. He's too late. But I mean, that says something to him.
The survivalists will tell you. The survivalists will tell you too. If you have a lone dog or a lone wolf and you don't have reason to believe that they're rabid, that's the way you approach them, because they will pause if they see something bigger than them. coming at them viciously.
Yeah. Now, as you were saying, I think last time, Al, their originals, Bella's part was supposed to be much bigger. They were supposed to have kind of an epic showdown too, him as the wolf and stuff like that. Am I remembering that correctly, or?
Not that I really remember. It was always a smaller part because he was the wolf. There was a in Werewolf of London. There's a confrontation between the two.
Maybe
the Henry Hall character and Warren Owen's character, Dr. Yagami.
Maybe I'm misremembering Dracula's daughter and what was supposed to be in that, and maybe I'm just mixing that up with this one because he was supposed to have a good part in that too, which he didn't eventually or end up on.
Does anyone remember the werewolf TV series from the late 80s?
Yep. Yes. That was one of the Fox Channel's original series. Way back in the day.
I loved that show. I did.
It started off like one of the very first lines was, "There are two people in the world: those who believe in UFOs and those who don't."
Yeah.
And for some reason, I remember that. But yeah, that was a good show.
Teen Wolf was. I was gonna say Teen Wolf was my childhood love affair with werewolves. You in the cartoon? I remember watching the cartoon.
Yeah, I'm going to totally date myself. When I think Wolfman, I think Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, Daddy, I'm going to play some good songs.
Speaking of Teen Wolf, the next wave of Mego figures is going to have a Teen Wolf action figure.
Sweet. And for those of you too young to know what I'm talking about, I am not talking about the MTV series, which got all weird and dumb. I'm talking about the Michael J. Fox original movie. Awesome.
Followed up by Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Teen Wolf 2. TOO.
My earliest, I think, kind of with werewolf stuff was She-Wolf of London. It was a short-lived television series.
Oh, they did a television series.
Yes, it was about a woman in England, and she, of course, was a werewolf, and she worked with this like English professor over there, or the scholarly English guy type, and they would help solve paranormal stuff, but he would have to lock her in the cage sometimes, of course, when there was a full moon.
I vaguely remember that.
It was interesting. It was an interesting show. Yeah.
I did like is it Seth Green? His werewolf on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
As long as that lasted, that was pretty cool. They would lock him up too in the library there.
Yeah.
Oz,
that's right. Yes. All this talk of Teen Wolf. Now I'm gonna have to change my StreamYard avatar, at least for a moment, and see. This is the old this is a throwback. See if you guys remember this. Let me find something to nix. All right. This is the old cartoon from Teen Wolf. It was very different from the show, but it was based on the show still. There we go. Anybody that ring any bells? Anybody?
Yep.
I remember the cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting for.
Actually, that looks to me like the Littles.
I remember.
A little bit. Yeah. Dinky from the Littles.
Yeah. Oh, good. You knew what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch that cartoon. Go back to Prof Wolf.
I keep forgetting you're about the age of my little brother.
No, I remember the Teen Wolf cartoon.
Yeah. And of course, you know, as you do when you wake up after the curse, you wake up feeling great, you know, because your transformation is taking place. But it wasn't a wolf we found.
No.
Did any of you see the movie Wolf with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great one too. That really zeroes in on the, you know, the alpha concept and the older man in the business world, you know, dealing with the young guy.
In fact, I would put that if you were going to watch, you know, like I do my class on American Ghost Stories, which I go through and we have to watch all of the or read and watch all of the staple ones in the evolution of the ghost story. If you did something like on the werewolf, I would definitely put that one in there. There was a TV movie in the 90s, which was they called it House of Frankenstein. but it was it wasn't based on any. It wasn't following the story of any of the old ones, but it did have all the monsters in it together. It was like Dracula come to, I think it was like L.A. or something, and there was a girl like a woman who gets bitten by the wolf and becomes the new wolf and is trying to be seduced by Dracula. She has to be the hero at the end or something, and I don't know. It was pretty good. You had Frankenstein's monster. I think you might have had the Invisible Man. I don't know. It was. I remember enjoying it.
Well, with the Invisible Man, you're never quite sure if he's there or not.
That's right. He could have been there and just didn't even know it.
That's true. It could be right in this film right there. Sort of. Actually, kind of
Guys,
is.
You're starting to sound like you're describing some sort of adult parody kind of thing. Let's not go too far down this corridor here.
Well, you mentioned Barnabas Collins as your boomer, and
yes.
we can't watch the Wolfman and not give a nod to Quentin.
Oh yeah,
Right. They didn't
very
get
much
to him.
influenced by this.
I do remember that. I don't think they ever got to him on the rebooted series from the 90s, but
no, he wasn't part of that. Yeah.
By the way, both series are available on Tubi. Anyone who's interested and wants to get caught up.
Very cool.
It's on my bucket list to go find the old soap opera and just watch them all the way through, but it would probably take forever. Of course, I guess now's the time.
I was going to say, well, there's that aspect of it, but I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like watching the old first, dozen seasons of Doctor Who. It can be kind of a slog. It might be worth paying attention to the re-edits that people that have been released. That
okay.
kind of
I didn't know
distill
about
the
that.
story down. Yeah. Like
Cool.
best of, and they're put out as like briefer arcs of story.
And I do like the way that so we know this is in England, but the town has touches of like the old Transylvania and everything from Dracula or Frankenstein, but it's still English enough to not look quite like it. And of course, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman that's the one I wish we had time to do. If we were gonna do one more, I would do Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, because that is such a great one. But we have to watch Ghost of Frankenstein first to make it make sense in the continuity.
Well, and I do like the fact that, and we kind of touched on this last week, the idea that these stories do kind of move around the world to wherever the center of power of the world is, right? So you start out in like Germany, Transylvania, those areas there. Then you move to where? To England, right? Which was, the empire at the time. And then the modern stories you kind of always have set in the US.
Yeah.
Although we didn't talk about it too much at the time, right? He
now
killed
this room where
Go ahead.
What's that?
Netter?
I was trying to say this room where they put the casket.
You cut out.
You cut out on us, Netter.
Are you back in?
The room that they put this casket in.
Is it? It's just.
We're only getting like
her main computer is being fixed this week, so we should by the end of the week hopefully have her back up and running.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Annette, we just couldn't hear what you're saying. You only heard like every other syllable or something.
And now we're not hearing anything.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting, though. A very different film, but for a second there, I'm like, no, don't go next to the coffin. That's where Bella's going to wake up. Oh, wait, no. Different.
Right. Wrong movie. Right, Gypsy Woman, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a sweet little moment, though,
Yeah.
Now, was he her son or nephew, or did we get that familial relationship? Her son. Okay.
Yeah. And I would say that even though they did the whole thing about, he said it was a wolf, but it was actually a man, and here he is dead.
You get a super chat there, Prof.
Oh, go ahead. Sure, you finish it.
I was just saying, technically, when it comes down to it, he had it on. If this became a legal case, well, whether he was a wolf or a human, it was still self-defense. So
yeah. No, thanks. I didn't see it, Al, so thanks for calling it out. But yeah, Orville Nation, welcome back. Haven't seen you around in a while, but thanks for the $5. Good Halloween topic tonight. Yeah, we got lots of Halloween content here up until the big day. Tonight,
I am
Thursday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Sorry, Orville Nation. I've been missing your live streams, usually because I'm getting ready for this one here. But love seeing you, and I give you likes every time I see your videos pop up.
Yeah.
By all means, everybody, go subscribe to Orville Nation. He's got a lot of great content, a lot of great interviews with some names from some of your favorite fandoms. Definitely worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
Now that my StreamYard's back, I don't know if you guys heard my question. Where the casket was laid out, is that like where it's going to lay for eternity, or is that kind of just a viewing area that was temporarily put?
Good question.
I think it was just a viewing area because it was way too open, I think.
I was going to say, even if that was within the mausoleum, it was going to sit there until they interred it into the wall vault.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking it's really, really open, and it's like seems too open for it to be where it's going to be for eternity.
Yeah.
Owen Lister's out.
Yep.
Thanks
Owen
for
Lister.
stopping by, Owen Lister.
Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you. I was wondering if these movies, because Melissa's been talking about the whole Great Pumpkin not airing on TV and stuff like that for a while, but it brings up a point. Are these older movies? You don't see them on TV much anymore. That different era. Now, some of it's just like, is a movie like this going to appeal to modern audiences? Modern vegging in front of a TV audience is not so much anymore, but sadly, but there was always channels before you could go to watch these, or there was places you could go to watch them. And now, even though everything's kind of moving online and streaming, I don't really know of any one source you can really truly get all of this content from, I mean,
remember these are Universal films, and Universal has been pretty protective of the license on these.
Yeah.
So right now, the only ones carrying them are the ones just paying for the licensing. So that's why every now and again you'll hear Svengoolie say, "Yep, we just re-up the license to do the Universal monsters." So
I'm trying to remember if Turner Classic Movies is showing any of the Universals this year. They're showing a lot of classic horror movies. I don't know if I saw the Universals on there because they used to do theme months. Like they would do Frankenstein one year, they would do Dracula another year, or the Mummy, and they would do like the first couple of weeks would be the Universal movies, and they'd move on to the Hammer. I don't know if they ever had a werewolf month, but they used to show them all the time on TCM during October. I just don't know about this year.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know they had the Hammer ones because they had Hammer ones last night, all through the night.
It's interesting here that even long before Larry turns into a wolf and victimizes anybody as a wolf, long before that, he's wrestling with his conscience, thinking that he's killed a man instead of a wolf. By the whole Bella thing, and reinforces his character, of being really a pure and noble person. But it's also an interesting dichotomy, even before. The werewolf victimization happens even before the transformation, Owen Lister, when he was here, we kept talking about like superhero versions of the werewolves. If you ever seen Cursed, Wes Craven produced it, I think, with Christina Ricci and even what's his name, not Lex Luthor from the Snyder films when he was really young.
Not Lex Luthor.
But it was
Eisenberg?
Eisenberg. Yeah, it was an interesting take on the werewolves, like the abilities that you get with it and stuff. So
that would be weird to be walking around with the cane that people think you used to kill a guy.
Oh yeah, it's true. Maybe leave that at home.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that thing. That thing is a huge hunk of. I mean, it's supposed to be like a hunk of silver here, but that is a monstrous head for that cane.
How much do you think that would be valued at in silver? That would be pretty expensive.
Well, if it were solid, yeah.
I can't imagine that it would be solid.
Now it would be because silver's gotten so.
Yeah. Well, ever since the electronic age, the value of silver has gone way up.
Love this music. Gypsy music is always so fun, especially gypsy jazz. Django Reinhardt and all that kind of stuff. That was really awesome. But gypsy music's always so fun.
Wee.
It's always awkward when your date brings the fiance along. No, I'm kidding.
Yep. It is an interesting little love triangle there too, to complicate matters further. He wants to try and win this girl, but he's got his own issues dealing with and everything. And you get the idea too that the fiance isn't really a horrible person. Like he said, he just couldn't take his eyes off that walking stick,
Yeah.
And he's nice here and everything.
Which I think is a good choice, not to make it some
two-dimensional
insufferable alpha male, peeing all over Glenn's shoes,
peeing a circle around her. She's mine. You can see how much his conscience really is getting to him. And this is the quintessential pathos-ridden, the victim. And that's what you get with this archetype. And certainly I can't imagine. I mean, Lon Chaney, he is a really amazing actor. And he really did learn so much from his father, to play monsters and different creatures and stuff. But when you see his face, you can see this in Son of Dracula too. Those eyes and that, he can do that big puppy dog face, but he's such a big bear of a man too, that it really just, he's able to strike that balance, which is so cool.
Yeah, he is a large man. He was perfectly suited to play a monster. Just like Glenn Strange.
Now, this is interesting that this is the mother of the man he's accused of killing. So, of course, he's going to be uncomfortable, but she knows what really happened. So she's, he's the victim of her son, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Matthew Fun said, where would a vampire werewolf hybrid fit an archetype? The only place I've ever heard of that is in Underworld with, what's his name when he becomes kind of a hybrid. It's a pretty cool idea.
What, Scott Speedman?
Yeah.
You mean there was someone in those movies besides Kate Beckinsale?
He was only in the first couple, and then he disappeared. But yeah.
I didn't even notice.
I'm gonna have to slip away for a second. I'll be right back.
He's going to Marcus territory.
Oh, I remember that. That was from Wolf. I remember that. Yes.
And that's the other thing too. Basically, he killed her son, but she's clearly not bearing him any ill will.
No, because she knew.
Yeah, and in a way, kind of, put him out of his misery, so to speak, right?
Yeah. What's the deal with this charm? If he had kept that around his neck, would he turn? Would that prevent him from turning?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah. I couldn't figure that out because I know he gives it to the woman, but I don't know.
Yeah. I need to mute for a moment here.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, now it's going to turn to study hall.
Well, honestly,
no, Netter's here. I apologize. But.
Yeah, no. Actually, I do tend to think that there's probably a great deal more story here than is actually shown. Definitely a lot of fertile ground. If you wanted to dig into lore, how might he have been able to overcome the curse? It would be the gypsies who would have known, right?
I would think so.
There could have been a whole other movie about that. You know?
Now, the follow-up to this, I believe, is Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And because I remember that one year they were having all Frankenstein movies on Turner Classics, and I was watching, and I caught Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, because I was watching all the Frankenstein movies, and I'm just wondering if Lon Chaney reprised it after that. I know he did the Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, but I'm trying to think if was he ever the Wolfman again after those three?
I honestly don't know. That would be an Al question, so we're gonna have to wait for him to get back.
Gotcha.
And what was that question now?
Lon Chaney, he played
Perfect
the Wolfman.
timing.
He played the Wolfman in this, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Did he ever play the Wolfman after that, besides those three?
After, well, he also played it in House of Dracula and House of Frankenstein as well.
Oh, okay.
Or at least one of those. But I think he played. I know he played like the Mummy in some weird thing when he was older. I don't think he really played the Wolfman again. But I just think I believe he did. He didn't. I think he played the Wolfman 4 or 5 times. So it was this film, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein,
Gotcha.
And Abbott Costello.
Wolfton says that the Wolfman, this will be on Turner Classic Movies on October 31st. So I guess they are still showing
Nice.
Universal's on TCM. That's good.
Best time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great scene. We see a lot of him leaning over the branch like that. That's what a lot of the photo stills, even him as a Wolfman doing that, but everybody packing up behind him. This is a great little montage too.
And see, a lot of this is from the concept when it was just the beast within, as opposed to him turning into one.
Mm-hmm. Because there is a famous story of a French young man who was in France at a time who did suffer like delusions and thought he was a wolf, and he would go around on full moons and stealing babies and stuff like that, and acting like a wolf. And one of the earliest accounts of them actually recognizing mental illness in the judicial system too at the time, and not just putting him to death. But
they used to refer to it as clinical lycanthropy. I think they've changed the codification of that to a kind of dissociative disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I study this stuff way too much.
Do you like this transformation?
Yeah, this was cool.
Slowly happening.
This was cool. Oh, so I got to mute for a minute.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, this how were you going to do the transformation? Well, it would be too much to just show it full on, right away. But you see the feet, and then once you see the feet transform, you are afraid and also incredibly curious and eager to pan up and see the full beast.
Exactly.
So really,
and I'm thinking, dude, you need some nair on those legs.
What I love, this is subtle but crucial. Look at him walk on his toes.
Yep, just like
like the digigrade joint. His knee becomes that, or his heel becomes that digigrade joint.
Yeah,
and of course, can't look at this and not think of the great Jack Pierce.
Exactly.
Walking hunched over like that.
He was wearing a Dago tee before he started to transform. Where'd he get the shirt with long sleeves?
Oh yeah, that's true. Good point.
That's an excellent point, actually.
The wolf thought it was a little chilly outside, so he wanted to, wrap up. I think that's so they didn't have to put the fur all over his body. But yeah, you're right. Story continuity. I wonder what color it really was, because I have some figurines that are in my campus office that are in color, and the shirt is red. But the bust here, the shirt is blue, like a light blue. Or a faded.
I think I've seen it as green as well.
Huh.
The problem is that most of the, obviously for obvious reasons, most of the images you're going to get of this are black and white. And so if you ever see it, you generally see it colorized. And that's entirely up to some artist's imagination.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if he was wearing a shirt with the action figure. Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, see, I have the action figure in both. I was just going to say I have it in both red and blue.
Okay.
And for licensing reasons, it is Lon Chaney, but it's not from this movie. It's Lon Chaney from that's another place where he appeared as the werewolf, and that was in the South American film Screaming Face of the Werewolf.
Oh, okay.
Which is the one that was licensed by Mego for the recent wave.
I think red makes sense because you figure red blood, Yeah.
If he's going to get his food on him, he wants it to be the same color. I just cracked myself up. I don't know why that was so funny.
I don't want the stains to show. Make my shirt red.
Exactly.
There's dirt tracked into the house.
And the film does do, maybe that's part of the original script that you were talking about too, Al, because the film does dwell a lot on, look what, this could be something to have to do with the wolf or whatever. But you can imagine if there was a question, if there's a mystery, is it real or not? Those scenes would be even more, important.
Right. Because as a dissociative disorder, he could have gone out, committed a murder, walking around in his bare feet, tracked the dirt back in, not remember what happened.
Yeah. Like that. That's some serious bed hair.
And now he is mocked.
Yep.
The sign of the werewolf.
Just like Bela.
Now, I don't think they covered it unless we talked over it. I don't think they talked about the origin of the curse here. But I know that some films try to, like, it's initially a gypsy curse that's bestowed upon somebody. They can pass it on to somebody else, etc.
He's going across the carpet trying to rub out the dirt with his foot. It looked like he was doing some sort of weird jerky dance.
I'll
this
show
guy's
this.
following the foot.
Yeah. There you go. I'll share the screen here. These are the figures. I'd like to know if you know anything about them, Troy. But these are the figures that I have in my office. I have the whole set, but this share the screen. There's 2 Draculas there. I don't know why, but it's just 4. The Drac, Werewolf, Frank, and
I
the Mummy.
Don't. Those aren't the. Those aren't the.
Those are the ones I had. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't the Migos or anything, or Universal Monsters.
They're not the original Original Mego actually had 3 3/4 inch that I know that Aged Boomer had referenced. They were
tall. They're
restyled by what is that 3 3/4 inch that puts out the collectible reaction figures. Those arms were pretty stylized. I'd have to look into that. Are they about 3 3/4 inch in size?
No, they're close to a foot actually.
I have to. Were those around in the 80s? Those figures you just showed?
Yeah, that's when I got them. Yeah.
They look familiar to me. I might have been aware of them at the time because because they're ringing a bell now. Now that I've been thinking about it, I didn't own them, but I think I did know about them when I was a kid. Yeah.
This conversation they're having right now, when Mr. Talbot there is telling him about lycanthropy and the beast in man, takes shape as a wolf and stuff. You got that psychological link to it. To some people, life is very simple.
Some people like me are just plain simple.
Really interesting philosophy here. But that's what the archetype of the werewolf does. It brings out the crystal clear black and white, right and wrong. With such an extreme evil, you've got to have the extreme good to balance.
Unless it's a corrupting influence and you start to lose that goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a possibility too. So I think I'm going to pull a Professor Geek. I'm going to have to step away for a moment. I'll be back.
Okay. That's why it's so cool that the 2010 Wolfman takes that tack where the father is corrupted, but the son is still trying to remain pure.
So, Professor Geek, why is silver harmful for vampires? Harmful to werewolves. Well, vampires too. But
there's a couple of thoughts. On the one hand, it did come from when it was still kind of wrapped up with the vampire, the silver of a crucifix. Then I've heard stories about the silver that Judas, was paid to betray Christ.
Oh yeah.
So, I've never heard one definitive origin of it, but I've heard a lot of stories like that all kind of sound pretty fascinating. But kind of a case, do you think maybe it's a little bit of everything,
Of course, the cathedral they're going into was part of the set from Hunchback of Notre Dame. That his father was a.
Oh, cool!
Oh, wow!
Yeah. And of course, his father also famously played Phantom of the Opera, which also Claude Rains, who's playing his father in this, also played a version of Phantom of the Opera.
Huh.
That's a beautiful cathedral.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody's staring. Why did the murderer come to church?
Now, what would the town have thought of him before all of this started to happen? He was like the son of
the returned son.
Yeah, and it was I don't know if it's royalty, but is it like
you would have probably they probably would have considered him, fairly I don't want to say regal, but that he'd be in high regard.
Yeah.
Affluential.
There you go.
Hey, that's good.
Matthew Flynn's bringing up the King Lycan myth is where we get the word lycanthropy. The man who served his children to the gods, I think, so was cursed to be a wolf. That's another origin story. But that's where you get the word lycanthropy.
You talking about King Lygos or whatever his name was?
Yeah.
Yep. Now it's time to wash that drink down with a Professor Geek special.
Nice.
Speaking of drinks, I hear that Tab is going out of.
I saw. Yeah.
I immediately thought of you, and
it was literally.
I was like, oh no!
Literally this past week, I've been going to all the grocery stores, and I've been unable to find it. I'm like, I can't find it anywhere. And then I see this article about they really are going to be stopping production. I'm like, oh, come on!
I didn't even know it still was in production. It's never around here anywhere.
Well, for the longest time, it was just in certain. How do they put it? Certain markets. And it was still available in the Chicago area, and then only at certain stores. And I figured it was probably going to be going away eventually, but what am I going to do?
I have to say, I've been noticing fewer types of soda in the grocery store as of late. I don't know if that's due to the pandemic.
It is. It's a shipping problem. A lot of things are not. Production has been low. Shipping has been impacted, and I'm finding that out more and more. Initially, it was the things that people were hoarding, right? The toilet paper and the so on and so forth. And then I was at the office store. We just got a new printer, and they were saying, yeah, we were having problems with printers for a while because there was a sudden run on those because of people working from home suddenly, which makes sense. But then they were talking about some other things that were hard to get. And I said, I wonder why that is. They said, it's just shipping. and production has been impacted. You can't work from home and work on an assembly line.
So here we have they just had the scene when they're asking the doctor, or he's asking the doctor about what is going on here, and so you take Larry's journey here. He's gone from returned son, somebody who might even have been celebrated to a certain point, but also to somebody who's victimized for killing, or thinks he's killed some man, so that's level 1 of his victimization there. Then level 2 is when he becomes the wolf and he knows it and everybody thinks he's just crazy. Is he truly capable of these things? And it's just he's self-hypnotized, as they call it, and I think it's an interesting question, because it's interesting, the background of the movie, was originally kind of going for that angle, but that it's tied to the actual monster being real in the universe, and that's using the story to tell you that no, there is true evil. There is such a thing as being ill in the mind, or disposed to it, or influenced by it, but there also is pure, true evil that one can give themselves over to, or can be oppressed by and stuff like that in certain ways, to take it how you want to. But it's just a fascinating topic.
And that's the thing about the werewolf, right? What is the greater evil? The mystical monster, or the true evil that lurks in the heart of men, so to speak?
Yeah.
In fact, my mother used to say that too. We'd go see a horror movie and she'd go, "These horror movies don't bother me so much. It's the real world, maniacs out there, killing people. Right. That's scary."
And you feel so sorry for the Wolfman when his leg caught in that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Green Lion Girl, she's saying, check out Diary of a Madman. She'd be interested in your take on that.
Oh, that's Dostoevsky or Gogol. I get that they both did books like that. I think
all I know is the album by Ozzy Osbourne.
No, the book, Nikolai Gogol. Yeah, Gogol was he was like the Russian Edgar Allan Poe. He's written some amazing. V is one of my favorites, about this monk who's paid to pray over the corpse of a witch who keeps coming to life and trying to attack him and stuff. But yeah,
it's a 63 film with Vincent Price.
Yeah, like I said, it was the original book. He's kind of like the Russian Poe. So yeah, Price would have certainly.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
and here in the film, Maleva is reciting to him what she recited to her son at the casket. The way you walk is a thorny path,
which is able to bring him out of it, to retransform.
Yeah.
And his first question is, "What are you doing here?" Not, "Ow, my foot hurts."
Good point.
When he's looking all weird like that, he kind of looks like Benicio del Toro.
Right? I thought that Benicio del Toro was a perfect casting.
Yeah. Now, did you hear my question during the stream, Al? Is Fan Man doing that this Friday, or is it still he still hasn't said one way or the other?
I'm still waiting to hear. It all depends. It all depends on his daughter.
I thought he said that was definitely the case, but then you asked him, and I thought, is it still up in the air? Because
like I said, if she changed her mind, if something happened, if something opened up, he was not 100%. It's going to happen. The Wolfman,
your channel or his
2010 will be watched 8:00 Friday night Eastern Standard, but I'm not sure which channel yet.
One channel or the other.
Yeah, the only Hammer equivalent to this, I think, is Curse of the Werewolf, but that's kind of a weird one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Different way with
interesting. Yeah, it is an interesting evolution of the story and the tale.
Oh, yeah.
And what cool makeup and costuming for the wolf.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, Oliver Reed, man, wow, that was.
He's an intense actor.
Yeah.
That's what I think when the Monster Squad Wolfman really took a lot of the visuals from that movie, even though they took the story kind of from this one.
I keep looking at all that fog, and it reminds me of when Troy and I first got our fog machine. We decided to test it out in the house.
In the house?
In the house, in the living room, which is now our library. It filled up the library, the kitchen, down the hall into the bedroom.
We opened up the doors and the windows, and we're like, oh, someone's going to call the fire department. I know it.
It took about 45 minutes to an hour to get all the smoke out of the house.
Wow.
It was too funny. But we had blast.
I love that the sign on the building next to this place is Sane Man.
Sane Man. Interesting. Yeah. Because he's very looking like a madman, and coming to her, like, how is she going to believe anything he says, looking like this.
Yeah,
and here comes her true feelings for,
you can help me, all right.
But she's even though she had that other guy, she's her feelings are for him.
Yeah.
That's Benicio.
Yeah. Remind me, Al, does he eventually it's in House of Frankenstein or Dracula
finds a cure, yes.
Saw the Mac. What's that?
He finds a cure.
Yeah, but doesn't he eventually get the girl, or there's a gypsy girl or whatever he's with, or is that I can't remember what happens at the end of it. One of them.
I actually can't remember either. I just know that he gets a because it was before Abbott Costello beat Frankenstein erases everything.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
history, everything. But in the House of
I think it's Dracula that came later, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not. I think it is how. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
but whichever one, the last one, he is cured.
And that terrifying scene to see the mark in the woman he loves.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to be said for that too. You're going to hurt the one you love,
And that was a part of Werewolf of London. Mm-hmm. The werewolf will always seek to destroy what it loves the most.
Yeah, yeah. I love that concept, but with the werewolf stories, there's the idea of we talked about it a little bit, right? When men after women all the time were called wolves, back in the day and stuff like that. One of the songs I want to put on the Prof's playlist for Halloween, I'll do that after the stream, is Southern Culture on the Skids song just called The Werewolf. But it's about like walking home with the girls. Like, aren't you scared to be walking with me because I could turn into a werewolf? But in the song, it said, "I'm going to buy you a diamond ring and turn this werewolf back into a man." And the idea is, the song linkens it to, if I go ahead and commit, if we get married, then it's okay. All these things that I'm feeling for you, And that concept you see is at least an underlying theme in a lot of classic wolf stories. It's certainly in The Werewolf of Paris. The novel as well as different movies as well. Because if you're going to hurt the one you love, the one that, you are going to let in to see all of you, even the beast within that you keep under wraps, there's that, you're going to hurt the ones you love, period. That's life. Mm-hmm.
I remember Robert E. Howard wrote a couple interesting werewolf stories.
I never read those. I'd like to, though. Interesting.
Yeah, I think they're in the horror collection. If you ever pick that up, like at a library or something, they were interesting. I think they take place. I think it takes place on an island somewhere too. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Speaking of Howard, I am hoping that we start seeing more horror. Because like I was saying recently, on Study Hall. It looks like horror is going to be making a comeback because they're cheaper to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that we start to see more Lovecraftian type films. We have had like The Color Out of Space, and that one I think went pretty well.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
so I'm really hoping we start to see more films like that. Not this stupid Lovecraft country that they. For crying out loud.
Well, like, didn't Mr. H say that he either had created or was in the middle of creating a Lovecraftian movie?
Yeah,
film?
he's doing a crowdfund for to make his own film, and if that does well, I think we could end up seeing a lot more films starting to be done. We could be seeing the Hollywood equivalent of Comicsgate, you know, as independent makers start doing their own thing.
When they were rebooting the DC universe, you know, with their horrible films that they were, you know, trying to push.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have? I know, like Johnny Depp was going to be their Invisible Man. They like already cast all these people for these movies that are never going to happen. Did they have a werewolf, or was it going to be a she-wolf? I forget. It's probably something like that. Did they have a werewolf?
There was talk about a she-wolf, but I don't know that they actually got as far as that.
Okay.
I remember Javier Bardem was going to be the monster.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which I thought actually that would have been interesting. I think I could have seen him in that role, but yeah, I don't. I think that ship sailed.
This right here.
That was a counting their chickens parable, if there ever was one.
This scene right here, you've got the mother of the last werewolf encountering the father of the current one. It's a touching scene, like the framing it and stuff like that. And she's trying to convince him, because he's going through what he's going to go through what she went through. You know, of course, she didn't actually kill Bela, but talk about driving one mad in the end when he realizes he's killed his son. You know. I love that what she's asking him, really getting at beneath all the science, you know what you believed. I forgot that he was he was her surgeon, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he is creepy. I mean, he does a good job playing creepy as the Wolfman. If you really saw, I know that people are so used to like the big computer animated, you know, wolf beast things that are larger than life and huge snouts and everything like that. But if you really saw a wild Wolfman like that in the woods, I mean, he plays it very convincingly. That's terrifying, especially acting so animalistic.
Yeah, the eyes, the way he juts out that lower jaw.
Yeah.
There was, of course, a popular story during this scene. At one point, she's going to faint, and they forgot about her while they were filming, and she passed out because of the fog.
Oh no!
Were they using dry ice? So it was carbon dioxide.
I'm not sure what they were using, but whatever it was, she was down right in it, and it kind of knocked her out.
Yep.
And they went to lunch.
In fact, the fact that it's hanging low like that infers to me it probably was CO2, and she'd pass out for lack of oxygen. Yeah.
Now you have to be hitting that cane extremely hard to really break flesh and get the silver inside of him, unless the idea is that just there's something supernatural about it being silver. Period.
Yeah.
Do any of you know if that's the case? Like one or the other? I always thought that the silver had to pierce his flesh, but is it just silver supernaturally being beaten with it also kills you, or
in this story, it's not said in this movie, but if you mean in lore in general, it entirely depends on the author's intent, because you have the more scientific-y, underworld kind of thing that treats it like it's a disease, and therefore it would require the poisoning of the skin. Whereas the original lore of it, the original folklore is, of course, silver being symbolically purifying, and so having that mystical element. It entirely depends on what the author's going for.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Well, someone in the chat though, Matthew Flynn, did address. He says, "I believe silver is a holy metal."
Yeah, like I said, they make crucifixes out of it and stuff like that. So for the mass, it's supposed to be silver, certain items and stuff.
It comes from the lore of alchemy and silver being a pure metal, in quotes, pure. There's also and I'm not sure. I've never dug into the lore behind it, but the 30 pieces of silver given to Judas. I'm not sure exactly how that ties in, but there's that as well.
Sorry, we just came back from lunch and found you.
Yeah. And that is something that would probably also have been true is when they did find her. If she passed out, when she came to, she probably had a screeching headache.
I bet.
One thing I will say about these movies, they had pretty abrupt endings.
They didn't as much. They didn't like the denouements.
They don't like to say goodbye.
I guess. Which I suppose in a way does lend itself really well to the sequels.
Because they were already planning to bring him back. It's like, I will tell it later.
I like that Bella Lugosi.
If you notice, he is just Lon Chaney. He's not Junior yet.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Melissa Harris bringing up Werewolf by Night. Yeah, the Marvel Comics. If you like this story, absolutely. Jack Russell from the Marvel Werewolf by Night comics is pretty epic. He eventually goes up against Dracula in the horror comics.
And the thing is, it's hard to picture anybody else but Lon Chaney Jr. that part. But like I said, at one part they were going to do a werewolf film with Boris, and a little thing. Dick Foran was originally cast.
Who's that?
In the role? His name's Dick Foran. He's in he's in another Universal, like one other Universal movie. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, who's that? Yeah, it's the thing that could have made his role. He was in The Mummy's Hand, but he was originally cast, and it was just before the production started that he was replaced with Lon Chaney.
This is it's funny because see, Age of Boomerang originally asked the question about why Silver killing a werewolf when you stepped away, Troy, and I was pointing out the Judas Silver thing, and I pointed out the crucifixes and stuff. But I said, to my knowledge, there's never one absolute. This is definitely the story, because everybody kind of has a different version of it. As you talk about the alchemy, and both Artificer John and Pseudo Badger are saying there's antimicrobial qualities to silver too. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like the werewolf itself splitting off from Dracula, that it's such a strong resonating element of the story that you can take it in so many different ways and track it back to so many different cool things. So it's you've really got a cool element to a story when you can do that with it.
I love the fact that, I mean, I can point to folklore, but when you start really digging, folklore isn't always just pulled out of thin air. It's usually premised on something.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so it's and it usually has a couple of different sources, folklore, things where they develop from. So yeah.
Well, you also notice that anytime Dracula's around Silver, if it's shown to him, he kind of goes back like no, but if you touch it with it, it will burn him. Yeah. So it might be this kind of like the same premise with the werewolf, where you touch him with the silver and it affects him. You may not see a mark like you would on Dracula, but you'll see like it still affects him, like maybe it burns his soul or something.
That was in Cursed too. Wes Craven's Cursed, yeah.
And that's with the vampire, is he reacting to the silver? Is he reacting to the crucifix? Is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good question on that, because it's like, is it really the crucifix, or is it he knows your faith? And he's actually reacting to your faith.
That's what the professor was talking about with the mysticism as opposed to the physical reaction. Yeah.
It's there's so many. It's such a ripe mythos you could tell some different tellings with. I haven't seen a lot of good werewolf stories done outside of this traditional formula. There's been a really cool installments of this traditional formula. Stephen King's was really quite good.
Bullet.
Silver Bullet, yeah. the what was it called? I've got it in the other room, the graphic novel. But I think the book was called something and the movie was called something different.
Cycle of the Werewolf versus Silver Bullet.
Yeah, Cycle of the Werewolf.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen the film version of it. Was it worth it?
Oh yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, Corey Haim was in it, right?
One of the Corys. I forget which one's which.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, those Corys are interchangeable.
And his uncle builds him the like rocket powered wheelchair, the Silver Bullet, right?
Mm.
Okay. I found something about Silver and Werewolf.
Okay.
About that part of what is in Silver, it also contains sulfur, and that is the silver sulfide is shown to be toxic to other animals. It's not soluble in water, so it can only be ingested. In a werewolf, it would lift from the silver, travel through the bloodstream of the animal, blocking out blood vessels and poisoning the cells. And it's this that kills the werewolf.
Yeah, but see, that's a cool take. That's very much a modern application. It wouldn't have known back in the day necessarily, but it's a cool place to take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were mentioning other like werewolf type stories. There was a movie called The Beast Must Die. It was made by Amicus. They were kind of like a rival of Hammer Studios. And The Beast Must Die treats the whole werewolf thing as a murder mystery. Huh. And you're supposed to figure out who is the werewolf in the group at this estate, right? And they even pause the movie at one moment to see if you can figure out who it is, and then they reveal who the werewolf is, you know? And it's
wow.
Yeah, but
cool.
I think that would be streaming right now.
That would be the kind of movie to watch. What were you saying, Al?
I said it would be kind of a fun rewatch.
I was going to say not only a good rewatch, but a rewatch when you're having one of those parties, and then after you do that, you play that party game. You know where?
Cool.
Right?
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be really fun. Stuff like that. Those whodunit dinner mysteries.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that is our final installment of the Universal Monsters rewatch for this season. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Of course, there's many more we didn't get to, as we've said, all the other sequels to all of these movies we've watched and how they eventually tie together in a lot of fun ways. But
it is like the Halloween season's winding down, isn't it?
Yes.
Are winding up to the penultimate moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we still have really cool Halloween content on the Prof Geek channel next week, as well as from other channels. But so, Thursday we're going to finish out the Halloween tree, which I'm super psyched about. And then next week we're going to watch it, the animated version, and as well as Sleepy Hollow on Thursday. So good stuff there. Halloween wise, what's coming up from you guys and your channels? Is it your rewatch this Saturday, Al, or is it Troy's?
It is mine. Yeah. So on my channel, we're going to be because of the poll that we did on the Professor Geek channel. A lot of you said that of the choices we had, you guys wanted to see Shaun of the Dead. So it's going to be, I suppose, our Tolkien zombie feature for the season.
Cool.
It's going to be Shaun of the Dead. So we'll check that out on Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, of course, what's on Soundtracks from Birdman, Agent Boomer?
We are going to be doing the rewatch, also talking about the score for the Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one directed by Francis Ford Coppola. We're going to try that again, and I believe Al is joining us as well. So
yep, I plan to be there, hopefully, and look forward to it.
That's 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
8:30 Eastern. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All these central people putting their time first.
And Green Lion Girl, of course, will be doing Hitman tomorrow again, but next week she's going to do the Friday the 13th cabin virtual cabin.
Neat.
So that'll be fun for people to watch and join in. Thursday, Second Cup Cafe, and then in the morning on Famous Channel.
No, tomorrow, Wednesday. It's going to until throughout the new until the beginning of the year. Second Cup Cafe will be once a week on Wednesdays.
Oh, okay, changed it. Just once a week on Wednesdays. Okay.
Yeah, we posted on the Professor Geek Facebook page.
Gotcha. All right.
Oh, and Wolf 10 Media is mentioning here Wolf Commander Rambo's Thursday topic. the Modern Writer's Fixation on Villains. I think he's going to be doing an afternoon stream on Thursday.
Very cool. Yeah, nice. So lots of content. And then Thursday night, the book study. Friday night, the Wolfman 2010 somewhere. We'll let you know either
somewhere, either on Big Al Presents or on the Fan Man's channel. We'll let you know, but we will be watching it.
And then Saturday night, Shaun of the Dead on Troy's channel, Saturday Night Rewatch. That's really cool, really exciting.
Yep.
So Sunday, of course, study hall again. Topics?
Yes.
Sir.
We're working on them.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? We collect our topics throughout the week. We literally could go right up to showtime on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, with whatever's happening. I do have to make one retraction, and I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. We were talking about the images that came out of the new Batmobile, and I had said that they were the ones for the new movie. I was mistaken. Those were actually for the CW's Batwoman. But either way, it's not a Batmobile.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And then, that's Sunday. And Mr. Matchstick will be doing his We Watch, I think, still on Sunday. I think.
Yeah.
That. So, and then of course Monday night, Sound Engraver, Monday Night Muse, who popped back in the chat there to be around for that pitch there. So yeah, Sunday night, so great to have Sound Engraver back on Monday nights or Monday night. I'm sorry, this is Sunday night. Monday Night Muse live stream. Last one was good, and then that's Monday, Tuesday.
There was so much that I wanted to say, but it's like, yeah, I can't put that much stuff into the chat.
Right, whole books in the chat. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Yeah, and then Tuesday night we'll be back here for the Halloween Tree animated rewatch. Very fun. You can find it. You can probably even find it for free out there to watch, just streaming somewhere, like on a Daily Motion or YouTube. Probably it's an old Hanna-Barbera special, but I bought it on Amazon, a while ago. So it's Hanna-Barbera's The Halloween Tree. And that's Tuesday night. So
with the vocal talents of Leonard Nimoy
and Ray Bradbury narrating.
Cool.
Well, listen, everyone, I'd like to say thank you for having me on as the guest these past few weeks.
Oh, of course. Well, you have to come back a lot more often. I mean, I'm not going to be taking a break, but when I do stream, you're one of the community now, and you're a fine YouTube presence there. Great on the guests and stuff. So. Yeah,
we're gonna have to help Aged Boomer because he is an aged boomer. We gotta help him out with editing. We were talking about he needs to be able to edit down his the Sunday show because there's individual topics that would make great standalone videos.
I've been working on it. I just can't figure out a way to download the stream into like an MP4 format. But Professor said he might help me with that after
I'm going to show you as soon as we sign off. I'm going to do that from YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. So I was trying a few things, but they just weren't working. So I'm going to see if he can pass me through it.
Yeah. No.
But let me know if you ever do the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special. I don't know if you're planning on that, but I'm just saying I would pop up for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, you have the invites extended to you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Any closing thoughts from you folks?
Well, as usual, I want to remind everyone to make sure that you go to our different channels. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help us out a lot, especially us newer ones that are just starting out. We really do appreciate the subs. Please also drop a comment. Let us know what you think about any of the streams that you've seen for us. Give us a thumbs up. Anything to help us out, we do appreciate. So thank you so much for tuning into us. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not dropping these links just for my own good. But also, if you make a comment here and we miss it because these things are going by, we're watching the movie, we're thinking about what we're talking about. Go ahead then when this reposts the next day, drop it down in beneath, and we can
drop it like
conversation going.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Exactly.
Or you can even go to the Professor Geek channel and say, hey, on the stream I asked about blah 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 blah, and you guys didn't get to it. Can you talk about it now? And we can drop comments in on the Professor Geek in the Professor Geek group.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody forgot. There we go.
Thank you with all those links there.
Yep.
Much appreciated. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Good pre-show and great rewatch. A lot of fun.
Thanks for having us again, Professor.
Absolutely. And come back Thursday and next week we'll be doing some more of it. So Till next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the stories you love.
Night all.
Bye.